You're not 22 anymore.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm gonna be fine. They love me in Beverly Hills.
This is the second time I watched a fourth movie in a franchise in 1 month. Both a beloved buddy cop action movies that lean heavily into the main actor's comedic chops. But when it comes to Beverly Hills Cop franchise, I have a much more critical eye than Bad Boys. The first two movies were done when Eddie Murphy was on top of the world and couldn't do anything wrong. The third was done when Murphy's star was waning and his focus was somewhere else. And it was missing key components that make the movie better. And now, almost 40 years to the release of the first movie and 30 years to the release of the third movie, we have Axel F. But is it any good? Let's find out. I'm Meffistoe, like, share, and subscribe because this is my review of the movie Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Drop your weapons! Jesus Christ, some things never change.
When I heard this movie is getting made, I was very hesitant. Sequels that come 10, 20, 30 years after the last one was made normally set up for a failure, especially when it's a much beloved franchise. And then came the trailer, so this got me really excited. And then the movie dropped, and I also had an advantage of being on the other side of the planet when it actually dropped on Netflix, allowing me to watch it within minutes of it arriving on the platform. So now I can share my thoughts.
My badge is in my pocket.
Don't reach for it!
I've been a cop for 30 years. I've been black a whole lot longer. Trust me, I know better.
The story of the movie starts with Axel on a stakeout that he shouldn't have been on and trying to catch criminals that have foiled him before on another robbery. This ends up with him chasing them through the streets of Detroit, causing major damage and havoc. Again. Meanwhile, his daughter, a high-priced lawyer, takes on a case on pro bono defending a kid who's accused of killing an undercover cop. And when Foley gets word that she was nearly killed just for that fact and that Billy was involved in this, he rushes to Beverly Hills. This is where the story takes on a nasty twist as Billy vanishes and Axel's daughter wants nothing to do with him, but the case gets weirder and weirder, which forces Axel to team up with Jane, his daughter, and her ex-boyfriend, Detective Abbott, to solve the case.
I got arrested, and I need to talk to you about...
Okay. Listen very carefully.
Honestly, I have mixed feelings about this movie. I love this franchise, and I grew up with Eddie Murphy's comedy in movies and on stage during the 80s and early 90s. He was untouchable, but something happened along the way, and the first time I noticed it was actually Beverly Hills Cop 3. It was still Eddie, and even John Landis was directing it, but it felt flat and a cheap imitation of the earlier films. However, when this movie started, I actually felt like this was heading in the right direction. Mostly it was down to the soundtrack and the score. And yes, I know it's trying to capture the feeling of the first two movies, but to be perfectly honest, I like when a franchise has a consistent score and soundtrack. It helps me to stay immersed in the world of this particular character. And to the point, Axel Foley ain't nothing without Axel F. And I do not mean the title.
Well.
Hey, Sarge!
When it comes to the movie itself, here is where the problems start. If you are a fan of the franchise and you've watched it many times in the last 40 years, you would have a hard time enjoying this movie. Axel doesn't act like Axel most of the time, and it's an even paler imitation than the third movie. The main thing is the quick wit and ad-lib that Murphy brought to the table. Axel knew how to get into places that a normal cop wouldn't have because it can come up with a stupid story on the spot and make it work. In this version of Axel, he can't do that every single time, and that is a flaw that doesn't sit right because we as audience kind of expect it at this point. This is just one aspect of the character, but this is just an indication that carries over throughout the movie and in various situations.
I can't. I want to just give you a free car because we brothers.
Yeah, brother to brother. Brother's in trouble. Brother's in distress.
Brother, brother. No, so I lose my job. What? But we cool, though, right? That's all good.
Yeah.
Another damper on this movie is the character of Jane, Axel Foley's daughter. Without going too much into the weeds of the entire story, there is an absentee father to Jane's relationship that drags down the entire story all the time. And the main focus that I have a problem with is Jane is completely insufferable, whiny and her issues don't get a proper explanation that makes real, tangible sense. It seems like her anger comes out of a misguided reason that has no complete context, and we as audience are supposed to come up with the reasons ourselves. In other words, we are supposed to care about their relationship, and we don't, because every time she's on screen, the comedy in the movie takes a sharp left turn and ends up in a ditch.
I wanted $50 for this suit. I got it for $39.99.
It's yikes.
For $39.99, this suit is off the chain, Jane. Hey, that rhymed.
Overall, if you simplify the movie into scene blocks, you have a movie that takes the story beats of the first movie and fill those up with new modern stuff. Foley causes havoc in Detroit, costing the police a lot of money. Foley finds a reason to go to Beverly Hills. Foley gets arrested. Foley's the only man who really cares about this case. Foley tricks a cop friend to go into a strip joint, which isn't really a strip joint, and Foley resolves the situation with a big shootout at a huge Beverly Hills manor. Plus, if you're really sharp-witted, you'll guess who the bad guy is really quick, and again, that's something that actually happened in the first movie as well.
What are we gonna tell the chief?
We? This is your case, Mike. Shit, I was just trying to watch some hockey.
I have to admit that there are some great comedic moments in this and some really funny jokes along the way, but for a longtime fan, they are too few and too far between. The daughter storyline was stupid and she was very unlikable as a character. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was a great addition as Detective Abbott, and his interactions with Foley were absolutely great and created some of the best scenes in the movie and some of the funniest as well. And with all that said, if you watched the trailer and saw the 3 original cast members scene, you saw the only scene that they were truly together. It's a different kind of bait and switch, but a bait and switch nonetheless.
Hey, look, man, I just want to go get a steak. I'm starving. No, what do you mean no? I just eaten this hospital food for a week and I need some real food. No.
A massive disappointment. A mid-action comedy at best that might appeal to non-fans. And to tell you the absolute truth, if this would have gone to a theater and not Netflix, I would not have rushed to go and see it. And I would probably be correct in doing so.
I will shoot you in your face if you outside a helicopter. I shoot you, then I'm gonna shoot myself, because I ain't dying in no helicopter crash.
I thank you for watching, and remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.